What's up, boys? Welcome back. We're here to talk about John Riccitiello stepping down. So I know this isn't exactly the newest news on the block, but I really had to let it marinate and sink in my skin like a buttermilk chicken. This whole thing just feels super surreal to me because I feel like I'm kind of at the end of a scary movie right now, where the villain gets their head chopped off and everybody's celebrating, but Jerry is in the corner missing an arm and his toes are cut off and there's blood everywhere, but somehow everybody's still happy. So there are multiple videos out there about this and the Unity situation fully explained that are like 50 minutes long and really go in depth with it. But just to catch you guys up with like a TLDR on the situation, Unity is a gaming engine that housed a lot of really famous games, and a lot of mobile app developers and just indie devs use it as a development tool. So stuff like Genshin Impact, Pokemon Go, Hollow Knight, Among Us, just to name a couple, were built on the Unity engine. And what they actually did was announced some price changes abruptly out of nowhere, and this essentially would make it to where they can charge the developer after every single install of the game after it hits a certain revenue or installation threshold. The biggest cope with this whole thing is that they actually tried to use that as a selling point and say that this installation and revenue threshold will only affect about 10% of their actual user base, and 90% of the developers out there aren't even going to be affected by this. This is like paying for a slice of pizza just for taking a look at it. Now, this whole thing was obviously met with like a lot of backlash. No, seriously, look. It's a lot of backlash. Seriously, I think like so many big developers came out of woodwork. Mom, Pa, and her uncle came out of the woodwork to go on X, formerly known as Twitter, to post their frustrations to Unity, basically giving them the biggest middle finger possible over something so egregious. This kind of a statement basically told all of the players in the game that Unity doesn't care about them, right? I'm talking these big kahuna developer fishes and small little sea basses started backing out one after the other as quick as possible, some abandoning the engine altogether. Unfortunately, there were some stragglers, so these people have projects that were inside of the engine for multiple years at a time, and you can't just abandon the project. So these people felt especially dicked down by this entire thing. And then they did the South Park equivalent of basically apologizing. They just, we're sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. In this giant long open letter, they did end up backpedaling a lot of it, but I feel like the damage at this point was already done to the trust and community altogether. And so back to our main character at last. John Riccitiello. The guy you see on your screen, Johnny Boy, he actually served as the Unity CEO during this whole debacle, and he's actually been the Unity CEO for quite some time. So I bet you're wondering to yourself, what did he do before this? Was he the devil? No. Very close, though. He was the CEO at EA. And he was actually too evil for EA, if you can believe that. He worked there and tried to implement these tactics that were even too greedy for that company. And you know, stories like this just make me feel so bad for Johnny Boy, because he was at the front of his sailboat, leading his company, leading the charge through the ocean, just really trying to squeeze the last bit of milk out of this cow. And through all the backlash, he just couldn't keep up with the storm. Something crazy eventually happened, and the Unity offices actually had to evacuate over death threats. And I don't think I really even need to say this, but death threats are obviously crossing a line that's a little bit too far. Yes, this is greedy. Yes, you know, maybe he's an evil asshole, but you know, threatening to kill somebody it's just way out of bounds for what needs to actually be done, right? So basically, amidst all this chaos, there was a time where Johnny Boy got tired and he decided to wave the white flag. And that's what we're talking about today, is the defeat that he has suffered by the community. Now, I'm not one to normally be happy at somebody's downfall, but it's kind of poetic how Unity's CEO kind of just sails away when the ship hits this proverbial iceberg of sorts that they actually put there in front of themselves. I mean, We're literally talking about a guy that called developers that didn't find ways to milk money out of them fucking idiots, right? Just because John is leaving, I don't think that actually means that the evil is gone in the company. Decisions like this are never like ever solely based on one man's choice or one person's choice in the company. There's always an influencing factor. There's another hand, Illuminati type shit. But it's not the Illuminati. It's usually investors, board of directors, that kind of stuff, the higher ranking members and people with power in the company and risk investment inside the company. John is just like any other CEO. He was just the fall guy for a stunt to milk people for all they're worth that failed. That's all he really was. I'm not saying that there isn't a piece of crap within him, but I'm just saying he answered to people of his own kind. He conferred with people that were exactly like him, right? So it was like minds think alike, so they were all on the same board for this. Johnny Boy's just taking the fall. So that's kind of what I mean. We're at this end of this movie, right? This serial killer movie, this murder scary movie, and the bad guy's dead. He's dead. John is gone. He's gone from Unity. But everybody's still bleeding out. The damage was done to the community, right? There's so much trust broken among the entire community, from gamer all the way to developer, that I don't think it's going to be repairable even for the next decade, possibly. Because the difference is when you wrong like a community and individual people, the internet moves fast. Drama moves really quickly and people forget really fast. Like, we're like lemmings. But a business does not forget. And they can't afford to forget. Let's be honest. I mean, a business is what? A lot of business transactions, deals, things like that are a bond formed on trust. It's a contractual obligation that one party isn't going to screw over the other. And without that, it's just chaos everywhere. And this was a direct breach in that trust. It was immediate form of communication, very directed at just milking these people for money, which honestly, normal people should be mad too, because that cost just will get pushed to the person itself. So either way, you, instead of $70 games, we're going to have $80 games or whatever the case is. These businesses can't afford to forget, right? They have 100-man teams sometimes that depend on this gaming development tool to be honest and usable, and they're going to be using it for the next 5 years. So they need to make sure that the choice that they're doing is the right choice for them. And honestly, I don't see the trust being repaired anytime soon. There's not really much they can do to fix this. And an I'm sorry letter, reducing the cost, things like that is not going to repair it, because it wasn't the cost that, screwed a lot of people over. It was the way it was communicated. A lot of this is how it was just this abrupt cash grab on every single person in the entire gaming community. And it was just foul. And if you really think about it, the people that probably had a big hand in deciding this new pricing model, they're still there. People are still invested in this company. The board of directors didn't resign. A lot of the executive leadership that probably jerked off Johnny while he said yes to this are still there. It's so hard to form a relationship when there's so many different hands at play that probably wanted a part of this, right? And that's, some QAnon shit. But let's be honest, it's business. Obviously, a business wants more money. It makes sense, right? Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure to like it, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I appreciate you.